Well, hello everybody and welcome to Mirror of Our Times. I'm so excited to have a young lady in the house, Miss Stone Love, and you know our co-host, Dr. Richardson.
Hi, yo.
Now, what I'm interested to find out is, Dr. Stone Love, is that your real name?
That's a good question.
That's a very common question. I get asked that all the time.
Uh-huh.
And I will say that is my government name
Uh-huh.
and also my married name.
Okay,
So, yes, that is my real name.
that's wonderful. What a wonderful name.
Thank
And
you.
it fits you. You're a very lovely lady, you know.
Thank you.
And an author
Yes.
and a Pilates teacher. Did I say it right?
Pilates instructor.
Okay, Pilates
Yes.
instructor. Now tell me about some of your books.
Well, my books,
And first of all, how did you get into writing a book?
I've always wanted to be an author, but I thought, I don't have anything to say. Nobody wants to hear my stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through that for a long time. And I had a coach back in 2011, and she said she wanted to do an anthology book with a lot of different authors with very important stories. And she said, I would love for you to be in it, Dr. Stone. And I said, yeah, I'd like to. She said, well, I'll give you a week, and you come up with a story, and let me know.
Mm-hmm.
So I came up with this one story, but every time I thought about it, I said, I can't tell that story.
Why?
Well,
Uh-oh.
yes, it was one of those stories that we call the secret that we never tell.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told her that. I said, I have come up with a story, but I don't think I can tell that story. And she says, just like you, why? Well, tell me.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her the story, and she said, Stone, you have to tell that story.
Oh, wow.
And I did. I wrote the story in an anthology, and we toured from San Diego to Toronto. And something amazing happened. People would stand in line to talk to me,
Mm-hmm.
and what they would say is, thank you for telling my story.
Now you got me interested. What
What was that?
kind of story was that? It might inspire me to write a story, you know.
Well, like I said, it's that secret that we don't tell when we're little. It's about being molested as a young child.
Mm-hmm.
And men and women came up to me and said, thank you for telling my story. I'm going to go home and talk to my mom, even though I'm an adult. What you had to say, I know that she would say the same thing, and that is the last secret that I ever want you to keep from me. I would have taken care of you had you given me the opportunity. And so I want to say to any person that goes through that, tell somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. And so,
You want to look in that camera, in that
yes,
full camera. And say,
anybody, man or
Camera
woman,
one.
young child, girl or boy, if something like this is happening to you that you know is inappropriate, tell somebody. Tell somebody, because you're not going to get in trouble. It is not your fault. You are not the adult. And all that the adults that love you want to do is help you and take care of you. So that's ultimately why I told that story.
So that's what got you into writing.
That's what got me into writing.
Holy cow. That's great. That's great. So it really benefited you a whole lot.
Yes,
You know,
it
and
actually helped me to heal,
Uh-huh.
to reprocess the story. And I got coaching on it, and I went to therapy, and I was able to understand what was happening, that it had nothing to do with me as a 5-year-old. It was mental illness and about exerting power over someone. So I understood all the elements about it. And one thing that I also came to, which may be a little controversial for people that hear this and don't understand the dynamics of it, is that I got compassion. I felt sorry for the man that did this to me. And I felt sorry because who would you have to be to do something like that to a child? What must you have been through? What brought you down that low? So that is a person that needs help. It is not to be excused, but it helps when you understand what's going on. So
Wow.
I was even able to get an apology.
Yeah.
It was
wow.
my older cousin, and I told him I appreciate the apology, but I didn't need the apology. That's between him and his God. But in order for me to move on, I had to forgive, and it helped me to forgive to understand what was going on.
Oh wow.
So really, what strength-based decisions led you to what you're doing?
Well, that was a strength-based decision. The reason I didn't tell is because I was afraid. I was afraid of what my mom would think of me. I
At
was
5 years old.
Yes, I was afraid to tell. I thought it would be my fault. So that's a fear-based decision. And that is the first book. As I said, I was in the anthology, a book with a lot of different women, about 9 different women. And this book, Decision Time, this is what came out of it. I was tired of going around telling that teary-eyed story. So what I decided to do is write down how to tell a story. None of us have to recount. We get the help that we need, but we don't have to keep telling that story because the story isn't me. You know, I'm Dr. Stone.
Right.
You know, I'm actually Dr. Stone Love. So there's a lot in that name that I need to live up to, and it doesn't include a lot of gory, teary-eyed stories.
Right.
So I decided to write Decision Time, how strength-based decision-making changes everything. And I came up with 7 pillars as to how you know that you are making the right decision for you every time.
Oh wow.
Yes, it's not about what my parents want, what my husband want, what my children want, what my colleagues want. It's
Just
about
what you want.
Yes, and it talks about how the decision comes from your own initiative, how it comes from the wisdom that you have, and the wisdom that you have about the situation.
Well, I want to get a copy. I want to get a copy of that book signed.
Yes, you absolutely will. Yeah,
I'm
absolutely
gonna buy
will.
one for you. I'm buying mine now.
Okay, all right.
Okay, and African Americans have always told storytelling. When did you get involved into hearing your first story?
You know, you're absolutely right. My family, my mom, told me all the stories of when she was young, and she was raised in Shreveport, Louisiana. That's where I was born as well.
Oh, it's Sweetwater.
Yeah, Shreveport. And so I heard stories all my life, and it helped me to communicate. You know, I communicate in the way that my mother did. And yeah, storytelling has always been a part of my life.
And how important is it to know how to read?
Oh my.
Yeah, that's what screwed me up. And in school, I got to say this for you.
Yes.
I got to say this. My parents, they put me in Catholic school, right? And first day of school, I had this brand new outfit on. I was so proud of that and all that. And I was a hard-headed little boy. I could fight, right? And I was in school, and I had to go to the bathroom, right? Teacher told me to sit there, you know, and so I peed all over myself, right? Because I was a little boy, you know. And she made me sit there through the whole thing. And I didn't tell my parents because, I had a brand new thing on, So then they did certain things, so I wasn't, my mind was always on something else. Why didn't you let me go to the bathroom? And so I never really learned how to read. And even when in high school, because I was fighting, I was mad at everybody. But luckily, it was during the time that we had the port. We had welding and all that kind of stuff. So my father was a welder. He taught me how to weld. So I was making, when I got out of school, I had 2 or 3 jobs. I was making a lot of money, even though I couldn't read, right?
Mm.
As later, when I got married, I found out about I needed to learn how to read because I had kids, right? So certain things I had to fill out applications for, so I taught myself how to read, but I can't read as well as I want to, because like my daughter, April, she's a terrific reader, and she says once you learn how to read, the words disappear.
Mhm.
You see the story.
She's right.
And I've always wanted to see that because, I always wanted to really read well. And that's why I tell kids, anybody that I know, that if you, you're missing something if you can't really read. So now you can answer the question. I had to say that, though. So.
Well, you actually touched on both of those things. The reason we should tell, because had you told your parents, they would have
Yeah.
done something about that, and
Right.
you would have continued on toward your reading.
Right.
And you thinking it's your fault because she is telling a child he can't go to the bathroom. And that's something you just have to
Yeah.
do. There, you had to do what you did.
Yeah.
And so that cost you the reading. And so learning how to read opens the whole world up to you. You can read books, you can read contracts, you can read signs, you can read where you are, you can read your mail. Nobody can tell you anything because you can read the facts as it states it on the paper. So yes, I commend you for learning to read.
Yeah, man. Well, you have to.
Yes.
You really have to in today's world, because how you gonna learn how, instructions and all that. So
Yeah.
I mean, and then writing books, like that's why I want to write. I definitely have to have your book, because maybe it'll inspire me to write some of my stories, because I done been through a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Like everybody.
Like everyone, this book especially, this one is I Am versus AI, How to Write a Book Without Losing Your Soul Essence. And this teaches you how to creatively write. It teaches you how to
wow.
say it exactly as you would say it, because believe it or not, someone is waiting to hear you. They can only understand the way you say it. So everyone's voice is important. So we cannot give up our creativity, our intuition over to AI. Now, AI is an amazing tool. It can be an amazing co-pilot to even doctors, lawyers, everyone. But our creativity is not up for sale. So this book I would love for you to have, because
Yeah,
it
well,
will
I'm gonna
really
get that one too.
teach you how to read.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
I mean teach you how to write.
Get
your
that.
book.
I'm definitely
Yes.
gonna get that one too.
Yes, I would love for you to have
After
it.
the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I see you have some more books there as well.
Yes. Now this book, this is called Now I Am Her, the Woman I've Always Been but Had Never Known. And when I tell people the title, they say, "Oh." And again, it's very self-reflective. There's about 17 vignettes of my life story, those lessons that turned into blessings for me. And there is a journal space in here so you can process the story. There was one particular story I must tell you really quickly. I went to Paris to take a wisdom course in Chartres, France.
To take a what?
Wisdom course.
Wisdom course.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Wisdom course.
Yes,
All right.
a wisdom course. And it talks about all of the different wisdoms, wisdoms of the Bible and wisdom of different theologians and prophets. We studied all of that. And so I loved Paris so much that I said I can't leave. So when the class was over, all of the students, they said we would go to Paris for 3 days and then we would go home. They were from everywhere. And I called my husband and I said, something about this place. I have to stay.
Dang.
Yes, I have to stay. And he's like, no, FaceTime me right now.
Who you over there with?
Yes, what is going on? So he had to get a look at me. So we FaceTime, and I even walked him around Paris. But what I really want to tell you, you asked me before the show what I meant by the God in you. I'll tell you.
What did you mean?
So I was in Paris and I was there alone. Everybody had left, but I loved the city. I decided to go to a cafe to have some coffee or some chocolate show is what they called it.
Chocolate show.
Chocolate show. That's hot chocolate. Chocolate show.
French.
Yes. So I decided to take my journal and I wanted to go and people watch and just write. And I sat there too long. And I went during a time, it was called Bastille Day. It's like our 4th of July. And so on 4th of July, their Bastille Day, the buses and the metros stopped early. So here's what happened. I was lost and the night was falling.
You was what?
I was
Lost.
lost. Lost
Couldn't
in
find it.
Paris.
In thinking or in
I was
walking around?
lost in walking around
Oh.
because the metro that I knew, the gates were closed.
Wow.
So I went to the next one that was nearby. It was closed.
Wow.
I looked for taxis. I didn't see any. And I saw a black man coming my way. I said, "Oh Lord, please let him speak English."
Oh,
Book up, let the people
Yes.
know what you're talking. Now, folks, this is the book you get when you get to that point and you don't know really what to do. Is that right?
That's
And
exactly
you just
right.
follow the
Pillars.
the pillars. See,
Yes.
that's why I'm soon as the program is over, I'm getting my book.
Yes.
So
and where can we get that book?
yeah, where can we?
You know what? I would like everyone that watches this show to have a signed copy. So please email me and I will make arrangements with you, get your address, and send you a signed copy of this book. This is my absolute favorite because it's the one that I always wanted to write. And this one helps make decisions. And I'll give you, I know you want to get my email address. I'll give that to you. And this is my latest book. I wrote this in 2014. And it's I Am versus AI, How to Write a Book Without Losing Your Soul Lessons, Giving Up Your Creativity to AI.
So it seems like you done got hooked on writing a book.
I love writing. I love writing.
Really
And-
hooked.
Yes, and you can get a signed copy by emailing me at stonelovesays@gmail. That's stonelove, SAYS, @gmail.com.
Oh, that's
And-
easy to remember.
Yes, and let me know that, you watched it on this show, and I will get a signed copy to you.
What do you say to women that may have lost decision making and need to kind of make those decisions?
Yes, I'm one of those women, and I have needed to make decisions, and I will need to make decisions the rest of my life. And that's why I worked really hard on this book in developing these 7 pillars, and they all speak to your essence, what's really inside of you. And it just takes out all of the confusion and what other people think. It's just about you. So you'll see the pillars, and there is journal space in this book to help you process it. And I also give workshops on it. Please send me your email to that email, stonelovesays@gmail, and I will add you so that you can attend a workshop that helps you make decisions. But the book, it really, really helps. I've gotten great reviews, wonderful reviews on Amazon. It's just been really
So
wonderful.
how did you decide on the pillars? How did you, how did you do that? And how could you know it would help everybody?
I decided on the
Great
pillars.
question.
Yeah, it's a very good question. I decided on the pillars because it was my intuition. It would be your intuition for you. It would be your intuition. It's my initiative. Everything that came deeply from me that gave me strength, that is what I identified as a pillar. And I will give you an example of one of the pillars. Discernment is one of the pillars.
Discernment. Okay.
Yes.
What is
yes.
discernment?
Discernment is when you pray about something that you ask God to help you discern or recognize, is this a wolf in sheep's clothing?
Mm.
or is this a real sheep? Is this somebody coming with gifts, or is it someone coming to take from me? So your discernment about things, the wisdom about whatever it is that you're trying to decide on it, what do you already know about it? What wisdom can you research and gather? But it comes from you. Is it your initiative? Is this your idea, or is this coming from somewhere else? It has to all come from you, and that's what gives you the strength to make a strength-based decision.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so, intuition. Why should you listen to what's inside of you talking to you?
There's a lot of voices be talking.
And how do you which one to listen to and what not to listen to?
Well, the way I do it, remember I told you before that when you do something and then you'll have the thought, I knew I should have listened to my first mind. I knew that was your intuition talking to you. And you know intuition because it doesn't harm. It's not that voice that says, say this nasty thing to this person, or steal that, or get them. It's not that voice. It comes with love, and it's the best for you, even if it doesn't do what you want at that time. It is in your best interest. It is always in your best interest. It comes with love, not fear. It doesn't scare you.
Is that the first thought you have?
Yes, it can come. Sometimes your mind is going fast, and your intuition will get in there, and sometimes it will just say, stop. And you just talking, you just going, and it'll say, stop. Well, I shouldn't stop. Anytime you start arguing with the voice in your head,
Wow.
that's
a no-no.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yes.
That's,
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
sounds like grandma talking to you.
That
right?
sounds like grandma talking to you, because you have the wisdom in your heart. You have what you've read. You have your best interest really at heart. And
Thank
it
you for
saves me. You're welcome.
Do you recommend writing based using artificial intelligence?
You know, what I recommend and what I know is that AI is a wonderful tool. It can do things faster and more thorough than we can. We have things on our mind. We're multitasking. AI can read all 3 of my books and tell me what they're about in 4 sentences, and I will understand, and it will be correct.
Really, all the time.
All the time. But what this book teaches you how to do, AI, yes, it's going to be a co-pilot. It's here to stay. It's here. What I'm saying is, don't give up your creativity. Don't give up your imagination.
Hold that book up and tell the people again.
Yes, don't give up your creativity. Don't give up your imagination, your own colloquialism, how you talk, how your family talks. That way is important, because there's somebody out there that needs to hear your story the way you tell it. Not the way AI tells it, not the way I would tell it, the way you tell it. Yes, and that's what this book teaches you how to do.
Does that
Yeah.
have something to do with extrasensory perception?
Well, extrasensory perception is that extra thing that, we have our eyes, nose, all the senses, but you're able to, discernment, you're asking, allow me to see this for what it is. Not let it be colored by what I want or how I feel or the state of the world. Let me see it for what it is.
Extrasensory perception was when that woman called your name.
That's right.
That was
Right.
God.
That was God.
That was
That was God. Enabling me to hear her. Because mind you, it wasn't silent.
Yeah.
It was bustling of the city.
But you
And I
heard her.
could not have heard her because I was filled with anxiety.
Yeah, right.
I heard her and everything stood still and I heard her.
Holy cow.
Yes.
So you do training, you do
Yes.
workshops.
Yes.
So how can people contact you if they want to do a training or a workshop?
That would be wonderful. I would welcome that. They can send me an email at stonelovesays.
Don't forget
Yes.
that, folks. And I say it slowly and look into the camera over there.
Okay. My email is stonelovesays@gmail, and that's Stone, STONE, love, LOVE, and says, SAYS, @gmail.com. And that's a direct line to me, and I'll let you know about the workshops and how you can get the book.
So why they had a song called "I'm Storming in Love with You"? That was by the
Supreme.
famous singing group.
Yeah,
Dennis.
yeah.
The Stylistics, I believe.
Oh, yes, the Silex had one too, as well as the Supremes, yes.
Right. And so, how much is it to love yourself?
Oh, my goodness. That's the most important thing.
And how do you do that? I mean, how do you love? I mean, that's a funny question to ask, but
How do you do it?
How
yeah,
do you do it?
That's
How do you do it?
The way I do it is I have compassion for myself.
Uh-huh.
I have forgiveness for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I have grace for myself. I'm not perfect,
Mhm.
and I'm not going to be perfect.
Right.
I've made mistakes in my life, and I remember them well. But I forgive that teenager, that little girl,
Mhm.
because she lived through all of that so I can be the woman that I am today.
Mm.
So I must forgive. I'm not making perfect decisions. Hindsight will be 2020. When I'm 80, I'll think of something.
Mhm.
But when I'm 80, I'm going to be proud of Stone Love
Mhm.
because she got me to 80.
Right.
Wow.
Come on.
You know, she
Come on.
got me there. She
Come
took
on.
care. She made the right decisions so that we can be alive and have health and have friends and love in our life at 80
Mhm.
and on. So that's how I think you love yourself, is first with compassion
Mhm.
and forgiveness for yourself.
I think time is running away from us.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Uh,
but just tell some people some closing remarks of what you want them to know about you and your books.
Well, what I want you to know is that I wrote all of these books from my heart. I did the best that I could with the wisdom that I had, with my own intuition, my own initiative. It all comes from me, and that can mirror toward you. You can write, and you can write from your own intuition, from your initiative, from your wisdom and the wisdom that you can research and gather about whatever decision you would like to make. And I love that question you asked. How do you love yourself? You love yourself by compassion. And whether you are religious or not, that is the last thing that Jesus said.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive them. They know not what they do.
That's so true.
And we
isn't
are
it?
to have compassion for one another.
Right. Mm.
And it begins with self.
Holy cow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you came on the show
I am
today.
too.
I done learned so much.
Thank you.
Anyway, our time is short, and we're going to have you back. We got to have you
Okay.
back.
I'd love to come back.
And
I want to thank you, Mr.
yeah,
Johnson,
thank you so
Yes.
much.
for bringing in the best.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Johnson.
Better than all of the rest.
Yes, and thank you. Your questions were lovely. I really appreciate you both.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So continue to tune in, folks. We'll continue to bring you the best. Take care.
Mirrors of our time.